Harmonies from Libellud. There is your designer. Get this flipped over. Create a miniature world in which animals live in perfect harmony with nature. Place your tokens to create landscapes on your board. Choose the animals that best fit into your world. Combine your landscapes and animals to score as many points as possible. A tactical game where each of your choices will be decisive. 10 and up, 30 minutes, 1 to 4 players. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. Alright, so here we have the box. Let's get that open. Let's look at our rule book here. Game rules from the game designer. Goal of the game, the contents. Here's the setup. I really like what they did here where they show you the setup and then reference over here to what the piece is. A good use of the pages. Then the game turn. You have your mandatory action. And then you get into your optional actions, which I will explain all those after I show you what's all in the box. Tallying points, an example of point scoring. This is a more advanced way of playing with the Nature Spirit cards. Examples of those. There's your solo mode, and a player aid for how the game turn and end game all happen. Next up you have the central board where the tiles will go, and the arrow is going to point to who the first player is. And then this is the solo side. Then each player gets a player board that is dual-sided with a different hex layout. So you have all of those. You have a score pad. You'll see I won the first game. The bride went heavy into the scoring for the landscape and not so much on the animal cards, whereas I excelled at the animal cards. Here you have this baggie full of tokens. You have this here full of, you have your cubes that will represent your animals, and in there you'll notice some clear ones that has to do with those Nature Spirit cards. Speaking of those cards, get that flipped around. So here are those cards. I'll get those laid out and show those to you here in a second. But other than that, you have this bag, and it is full of all these wooden discs that are rolling all around on my table. You'll see the different colors, and some of them have icons on them. The brown ones don't, because the brown ones will be under stuff that has icons on it. So there are the mass of tokens. Let me get those laid out. Alright, so let's take a look at these cards. You'll see a couple different things. You have spots here. That's where the cubes will go, and you'll be gaining points as you put out the animals. This is the pattern you're going to have to do. That's where the little animal cube goes. Then you'll see a border on here that's got a color that signifies where the cube's going to go, like what land type is for that one. So there are quite a few cards, 32 different animals I believe. And they all have kind of different shapes and patterns that you need to do. Also, if you look, sometimes you have to have 2 high, some of them are 3 high. Here's all of those. And then we get into over here. You have 2 different player aids for the different sides. It shows how the landscapes score. The only difference is on the one side, the water scores differently. This one you're trying to create different islands in essence. And this one you're trying to have a continuous river. And then these are the Nature Spirits. They have just the 1 cube. They have a certain thing that they'll give you score for at the end, and then a pattern for them to complete as well. And you need to have them out in order to have that scoring. So again, here are all of those cards. So let's get into how this game plays. Alright, here we are set up for Harmonies. Typically this will be more in the middle of the table. I'm just having it over here so it's easy for you to see. To set up, you're going to grab the board, you're going to point it to the first player, you're going to put 3 discs on each of these spots. You're going to have 5 cards laid out. You have the animal tokens nearby. If you're playing with the Nature Spirit cards, you're going to deal each person 2, and then on their first turn, they're going to select one and put it above their board as one of their animal cards that they can have of 4. and then you'll take the clear cube and put it up in that corner. I am not going to show you that, however, so let's just get on with the basic game. On your turn, the mandatory thing is that you are going to grab one of these sections of 3 discs, and then you're going to be placing them on your board. As you're putting them on the board, there are optional actions you can do. The first one is you can take an animal card from up top. You can only do this once per turn, however. So when you do, so let's say we take this one, you're going to grab it. You are going to grab the animal tokens to fill up the holes, the spots, and then you're going to start putting these on. If at any point as you're putting them on, you have the pattern depicted here, you can take the bottommost cube and put it on the one depicted. So let's put these back here and show you an example. So if on my turn I get these lined up like so, I would take this bottom one and put it on there. It can be rotated, but it needs to stay in that pattern. So in essence, this could be anywhere like this, but it can't be like that. Those two have to be next to each other in order to accomplish that. So if this is on there, and in a future turn, you put a building there, that stays there because it was the pattern when you placed it. Now for some placement restrictions as you're placing them. Water and fields can only go 1 high. Green can go 1 high, or it can get stacked on top of brown. You can go 1 green on a brown, or 1 green on 2 brown. Buildings can go on top of themselves, like so, one on top of wood, or one on top of mountains. Mountains can go 1 high, 2 high, or 3 high. This is all denoted in the rule book on the back page as well. You also have this scoring card that shows the different ways stuff can get stacked on here. At the end of the turn, you will fill this back up if necessary, and you will fill the board up for the one that you had. So if I took these 3, you would draw 3 more, put it there, and then the next player will go. You are going to keep playing until one of 2 things occurs. Either you cannot fill the board up with tokens anymore, or one player has 2 or less empty hexes remaining on their board. At that point, you're going to do equal number of turns as possible, and then you are going to score. First thing you can score is your landscapes. Those are depicted here. You will score 0 points for just a stack of 2 wood, 1 point for a single green, 3 for a green on top of 1 brown, or 7 for a green on top of 2 brown. Next, for your mountains. Your mountains need to be connected. So a solo mountain, no matter how high, 1, 2, or 3, will score nothing. However, once you have 2 mountains together, then you're going to score each one. A size 1 is 1, 2 is 3, and 3 is 7. Fields want to be in groups of 2 or more. For every field that is a group of 2 or more, you get 5 points no matter how many fields are in there. So this is 5 points, and that is still 5 points. However, now that's 5 and that's 5. That's 5 and that's 0. Buildings need to be 2 high and have 3 different colors surrounding them, like so, and only the top one matters, so that is not 2 different colors, that is just 1. Your water, you're going to count how many are in your longest stream in the shortest amount possible and get those points. This stream would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this would not be the shortest by going out, so you would only score this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you look on here, would be 11 points. You then are going to score your animal cards. You're going to score So in this instance, I'd be scoring 10 points. If you get all of them out, they do go off to the side, and you'll be scoring the most points at the end, because as I said, you can only have 4 up here. If you're playing with the nature spirit, you will also score that under your animal scoring. Total of 2 up, highest score wins. And that is the rough and tumble way of how to play Harmonies.